Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Chase Corrington, and this is my YouTube channel where we seek to achieve and maintain happiness through enlightenment, and where we seek to discover the hidden mystery of the reality we live in, the hidden wisdom of the ages. Ladies and gentlemen, if you missed me, I haven't been on as recent as I'd like to be. I've been working on CLC Paint and been recording some things for the CLC Paint YouTube channel, as well as came out with clcpaintings.com and doing some things around my painting and trying to build my painting into a business. Ladies and gentlemen, build my dream, build the life you want to live. But today I wanted to come on and talk about something I wrote down the other day while I was reading, and it was so powerful. I love to write while I read. It's like your thoughts around what you're reading, and you can come back and check into that stuff later. That's another reason I like doing these videos, is it helps me remember what it is. It helps me teach myself. The same way with writing. Writing helps you clarify your thoughts and formulate them and, concrete them, get them to where I want to get it, to where the things that I learn, I can go out into the world and just tell people and teach people these things in person. So when I'm doing these videos and when I'm writing things down, and it really helps me to learn and cement the things that I'm, approaching, to trying to gain wisdom. It helps me so in the future I can say these things to people in real life. But what is God? This is a deep subject, ladies and gentlemen. What is God, really? The nature of God. David Hawkins says that enlightenment occurs to one in more than 10 million people. Only one in more than 10 million people. So enlightenment is an extremely rare occurrence. Jeff Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower, recently had on a couple of the founders for the Focus Life Force Energy project and product, and they use David Hawkins' scale of consciousness for their product and in their project and their technology that they're using. And they practiced, one of them that was speaking, I believe his name was Clayton, not 100% sure there. He was speaking, and he is obviously a practitioner of kinesiology in calibrating the level of consciousness of, certain things in the world. And in reading David Hawkins, he talks about the level of consciousness for humanity as a whole rising in the 80s, in the 90s, up over 200, which is the threshold of courage, I believe. It's the balance, or the separator level between the lower levels of consciousness, fear, guilt, shame, apathy, grief, all those things, and the higher levels of consciousness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, all these things. So, back to what I was saying here, enlightenment occurs to one in more than 10 million people. And I would agree that true teachers are few and far between. That's why it is key for us to be our own guides, ladies and gentlemen. It's key for us to be our own guides and not believe something because it is what we have been told to believe our whole lives. Not believe something because it is what we have been told to believe. Because if we take what we're told today, and in the past, it seems very easy to get off track. It seems very easy to lose our way if we truly want to gain a connection with God or our innate divinity inside of us. True connection with that unseen part of the world and ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. It's extremely important to understand what God is not. If we truly want to get in touch with God, we have to know what God is not. As I turn the page, one of the most crucial of misunderstandings of God is what many religious groups would teach. And this is what I was taught when I was young, which is, the idea of God having human characteristics. I'm hearing the argument already. We were created in the image of God, or the likeness of the gods. But I would say that the gods that created us, ladies and gentlemen, are not the God that we are talking about here. The gods that created us, these extraterrestrial beings that have been manipulating our DNA and doing whatever for who knows how long, interacting with us, these gods I don't think are the true divine source. This universal essence that we all seek to know, that I think spans across all cultures, all religions, and it is not a religious thing at all, but rather just a knowing, a spiritual principle. Spirituality instead of a religiosity. Talking about here, although the God we're talking about is in them. So the gods that created us has this God that we're talking about in them as well. And it's in us as well as all things. So it is not a person, ladies and gentlemen. God is everywhere. Another big misunderstanding is the idea of God being somewhere else. God is everywhere. We get it taught to us, or we believe that God is in some faraway distant place, like heaven, or somewhere we can get to eventually. By doing good works, or by following the rules, we can eventually get to this place where God is. Like God is not here, always. As Ram Dass says, be here now. And I'll add, be here now as God is. Be here with God as God is. God is all things, and we are a part of all things. On a quantum level, there is no duality or dichotomy of the knower and that which is known. Because if you look at everything on the smallest level, it is all interrelated and interdependent. Every little thing, a leaf that blows by, cars that drive by in the background, these are all expressions of the universe, the entire universe building up to this point as it is. So you could say cause and effect doesn't work, or you could say cause and effect has gotten so big that it's no longer just a duality. So God is everywhere. And that means that it has to be in us as well. If it is everywhere, it has to be in us, ladies and gentlemen. It is our responsibility to figure this out. It is only a certain level of awareness or consciousness that activates the true divinity or presence of God within us. I would also say that it is always active within us. It is just up to how we choose to align ourselves with it. How we choose to align ourselves with this force, this unseen force. I think changes how we choose to align ourselves with this. I think changes our individual experience of its manifestation, so of its showing up in our lives. I love the way Alan Watts puts it. You do not get wet from the word water. Just like it is impossible to describe the true essence of God. With words, rather, I feel it is only an experience. And this is where the knowing, rather than knowing about, through experience you gain a knowing. David Hawkins puts it, God is beyond perception, duality, positionality, or having parts. God is beyond opposites, such as good or bad, right and wrong, win or lose. He goes on to say, the presence of God is the quintessence of profound peace, stillness, and love. And this profound peace, stillness, and love comes directly from being what the spiritual masters taught us. The Christ figure, the Buddha, all these spiritual masters, releasing and letting go of the physical world, ladies and gentlemen. Releasing and letting go of the physical world, its trappings and our connection to it, and removing the ego's control and influence over our mind and our actions, and coming from a place of love, pure, unconditional love, and service to and for the rest of the universe or God. Back to what God is not. It's getting warm in here, and it's not even too hot out today. All right, back to what God is not. Many great spiritual teachers have put it, God is not subject to emotional upsets. Revenge, jealousy, hatred, violence, nor does God need to be admired. A God that seeks worship, ladies and gentlemen, is not a God that is worthy of such worship. God is not subject to emotional upsets, revenge, jealousy, hatred, violence, nor does God need to be admired, complimented, or worshipped. Hawkins puts it, the beneficiary of worship is the worshiper. Powerful. The person benefiting from doing the worshiping is the person doing the worshiping. Great misinterpretations of God include one of fear, revenge, jealousy, anger, retribution. Many cultures would sacrifice to appease God or gain favor with God through sacrifices. God is beyond ego, judgment, and favoritism. That is important. Everybody, why does God do bad things to good people and good things to bad people? God is beyond ego, judgment, and favoritism. But the image of God as these things, the ultimate judge or punisher, is something that has been ingrained into our minds, ladies and gentlemen, over thousands of years. And it is not easy for many people to change these ideas. Therefore, the great condemnation of those who would profess the ideas that I'm talking about right now, this is why this happens, because it's not so easy for the people ingrained, for those of us ingrained with these ideas, to get rid of them. And so we would condemn those that would speak out against this. We're lucky now to live in times where the freedom of thought is allowed and we're not executed for speaking our truths and against the status quo, ladies and gentlemen. So what of people who claim to have spoken with God? I think this is something I'll come back, do another episode tomorrow, and we'll leave it right there on what of people who claim to have spoken with God. Because that's deep, and I have a great story that I'll share with you tomorrow about that, ladies and gentlemen. For now, we'll stop it right there. I am Chase Corrington, and this is the Chase Corrington YouTube channel, where we seek to achieve and maintain happiness through enlightenment together. A learning process for me, and I hope somebody else I'm helping along the way. And where we seek to discover the hidden mysteries of the reality we live in and the hidden wisdom of the ages. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up if you didn't make your voice heard, because in the end, all we can do is share. And the more we share, the more we'll have to leave behind when we go, ladies and gentlemen. Until the future, until tomorrow. Look forward to that one. I'll be back with more interesting topics to throw your way. Thank you.